Goeiedag! Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And you know, South Africa has a fairly unique kind of lifestyle, I guess you could call it. Almost like a throwback from the pre-1994 days. What a lot of families have in South Africa is called a domestic servant. Now, a domestic servant is someone who comes into your home every day, cleans the house, makes the food, often babysits, does a whole range of activities for that family. Now, as I said, this is part of tradition in South Africa that dates back a long time. You know, probably 100 years or more. And many of these domestic servants are almost like part of the family. You know, they've been with the family for 30 years or more. You know, it's just like part of the family. The problem in these times is that a lot of these domestic servants catch a bus every day, go back home to the township, and the next morning they come back to that particular house. Now, with the coronavirus hanging around, you can understand when I talk about isolating yourself and making the home basically a fortress, you can see how that's compromised. Because clearly, the domestic servant, just by the nature of having to go home to the township, traveling on public transport, is really a great risk of getting that coronavirus. So, how is the South African government or others dealing with this issue? Well, let me tell you. The South African government has encouraged social distancing as it grapples with coronavirus pandemic, and the official recommendations published by the Department of Health state that people should avoid non-essential workers in their homes. While a number of large South African companies have indicated that they will follow these restrictions and allow employees to work from home, this issue is complicated by the fact that thousands of South Africans homeowners are the sole employers to workers in their own households. Now, as I said, those workers are called, just by history, domestic workers. With approximately 1 million domestic workers employed across the country, South Africans will have to be careful and consider how they apply leave and whether they will opt to allow workers to take special leave during the pandemic. Labour law specialist Natasha Mani told Health E that employers have to ensure that employees have a safe environment to work in. The Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Death Act, or COIDA or CODA, states that workers are entitled to claim compensation under specific circumstances. However, Mani pointed out that the Act does not cover domestic workers and gardeners. She told eHealth, so for instance, if you have a family that went to Italy to ski and you came back with a COVID-19 virus, chances are you've affected the person around you in your home and in your workplace. However, the legal expert noted that the Occupational Health and Safety Act comes to the defense of domestic workers. The Occupational Health and Safety Act does say that every employer must make the environment safe, but if you have a domestic worker or gardener that does not fall within COIDA, then we use the Occupational Health and Safety Act to ensure that you made the environment safe for this employee. This includes the employee taking precautionary measures such as providing hand sanitizers. Moni said that people who contract the virus are entitled to paid sick leave days to recover or to self-isolate. Employers and employees have a statutory obligation to ensure health and safety in the workplace, law firm Bowman said. Accordingly, Employers must take precautionary measures in circumstances where there is a reasonable apprehension that an employee has been exposed to COVID-19. Below it outlined the recognized forms of leave in South Africa. Statutory annual leave. Employees are entitled to 15 working days statutory annual leave per annum on full pay. This entitlement may be increased by agreement between the employer and the employee. Statutory sick leave. Employees are entitled to 30 days paid sick leave over a 36 sick leave cycle. Where the employee is absent for more than 2 consecutive working days or on more than 2 occasions in an 8-week period, the employer is entitled to require a medical certificate as proof of the employee's absence due to illness. Statutory family responsibility leave. Employees are entitled to 3 days family responsibility leave on full pay per annum when their child is sick. The statutory entitlement does not apply to the case where a close relative other than a child is ill. For example, parents or siblings. Employers may grant such additional family responsibility leave at their discretion. In instances where a reasonable apprehension exists and an employee is self-quarantined, the employer may decide to regard the absence as a form of special leave, in response of which the employee should be entitled to be paid, said Bowmans. They went on to say, special leave is not a legislated form of absence, and an employer is not legally required to offer such leave. This is because the absence would not be as a result of any of the recognized reasons for employee absence, such as those listed above. Rather, the reason for the absence is the employer's need and obligation to ensure a safe and healthy work environment. Employers should also be cognizant of the new national minimum wage for domestic workers, which was implemented as of the 1st of March 2020. From the 1st of March 2020, domestic workers will be entitled to a minimum wage of 15 Rand 57 cents per hour, an increase of 57 cents from the current baseline. On cleaning service, Sweep South has announced that it has proactively started preparing domestic workers who use its platform to tackle the illness. Aisha Pandor, Chief Executive and co-founder of Sweep South, said, "In light of how rapidly COVID-19 has spread in other countries following the announcements of their first cases, we want to make sure that our sweep stairs are following the advice guidelines set up by the National Department of Health and the World Health Organization. As we are in constant communication with our sweep stars, we have used our communication platforms to pass along these messages, as many of them may not be aware of the various websites set up with this information." Sweep South said it had also updated its training to ensure that its members are aware of how to effectively clean domestic and work environments in light of the coronavirus. As the need for cleaning services became more prevalent in light of the current situation, we wanted to proactively confirm that our sweep stars are aware of how they can ensure a home or office is properly cleaned in light of the coronavirus. Now, I just want to say that this coronavirus is really a complicating factor for those people who do have domestic servants at home. And clearly, if those domestic servants do go home to a township every night, your home will be compromised. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. If they live at the back of the house that you live in, that's fine, because they're still kind of self-isolating from the wider community. This is just an issue I want to bring up for those people who do have domestic servants to consider, because clearly, as I said, if they do have to go home to the townships, be on public transport and things like that, the chances of an infection coming into your home is greatly increased. Alright guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video, please share this video, and above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.